ようこそどうぞはじめまして
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the best anime podcast on the internet. And, despite the fact that the hottest news topics of the past 2 weeks have been Neon Genesis Evangelion and Tifa from Final Fantasy VII, we are not in 1998, but it is actually 2019. In fact, we're in the end of June in 2019. Do you know what that means, guys?
A whole new selection of great anime that is sure to not disappoint.
I was going to say our 7th anniversary, but yes, also the the new anime season.
It's going to be what's wildfire season in California.
Yes. Well, yeah, way to derail that one because now I'm sad. But yes, there's new anime season coming up, and we're going to talk about it. I know we haven't been talking about anime much these days, but we'll see how this season goes.
I'm sure next season.
I always like these podcasts the most because we can talk about anime without actually having to watch it.
Yeah,
it's really I'm going to say, like, considering the lineup here, I think next season may also have not much talking about anime.
Well, yes. We have quite a bit to talk about, so let's try to get into it quickly here. Let's just do our introductions. I'm Jel. You joining me on 3 out of 3 podcasts in 5 days here. We have Iro.
Yeah, we podcast 2 days ago, and then 2 days ago before that, and it's like, let me rest, my dude.
Look, I call him my reliable navigator for a reason.
Yes, well, G, you've been with me as well, so
for some awful reason, yes, I have, despite having literally pressed my nose to the grindstone so hard that I'm starting to look like fucking Voldemort out here. But yes, when Jel invokes the right of the spontaneous podcast, we here at the GLORIO Network must answer.
I couldn't help myself. But yes.
Jel calls for aid.
Yep.
And yes, and then finally we have Aqua joining us again.
Yep.
So I think it's been a little while, but welcome back, and thank you for... Did she really say hi?
Yeah.
Hi, Aqua's mom.
Yep.
Thank you for all your hard work. I don't know. I'm ad-libbing now.
Thanks for shooting our friend out of your crotch.
Let's not
all right, look, see, the reason why I don't say anything, but now y'all are fucking open the floor on me. The reason I don't say anything about anybody's mother if I don't know them is because, like, no matter what you fucking say, it could be construed as, like, either way too familiar or way too fucking rude.
I think I took a very safe route on
Fair enough. Let's move on.
It doesn't even matter the tone and the intent. No matter what you say, it's going to be taken as, like, some kind of awful insult.
Also,
anyway.
Cesarean.
Oh, well. Fine.
Wow, we're just getting way too much information.
Deep GLORIO lore.
Is this that joke from the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
Let's not talk about that.
I don't even want to know.
Jeff, I'll keep it rolling.
Aqua, I'm glad you're here, and thank you for putting together these extremely extensive show notes, which I'm hoping everyone will appreciate. I'm just going to leave them in the post because they're quite entertaining. So yeah. Like I said, we've got a ton to talk about. We've already wasted plenty of time talking about Aqua's mother, so let's move along here.
The year of cool anime moms continues.
Yeah, you know what?
I mean, I do not say this in vain. I do not say this in vain. This will be relevant later.
All right.
Yes.
Moving on.
We'll get to that one, Aqua. I know where you're going. So... All right, so we have these broken down in a couple different categories, and we're going to start with the shows that are returning, or at least the ones that we want to talk about. As extensive as this list is, we're still not covering everything as we usually do in these preview shows. We're just kind of grabbing the ones we want to talk about, but there are quite a few. So returning next season then, we're going to kick things off by talking about Teasing Master Takagi-san.
Hell yeah.
Hooray.
A show about two dumb kids in love and one of them owning the other one extremely hard, trying to get him to say
I
it.
wonder what like fucking 90% of those episodes are going to be about.
Like,
Yeah, wait, that is a very incorrect. That's a very incorrect
Yeah,
description because only one of them is dumb and the other one is extremely clever and also psychic. And number two is she doesn't even own him at all. He owns himself. That's the show.
See,
Well,
that is true.
she
not to
is
take
the...
away from the. Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
G.
Oh,
No,
thank
you go ahead.
Okay, I was like, not to take away from Takagi-san, but as somebody who like watched Kaguya-sama like 3 months late to the party, like I feel like maybe that gets a little bit closer to like what I was probably hoping to get from that style of show.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
is like,
Kaguya-sama also really good.
like
Let's
let's own each other, but like make it mostly mutual, and sometimes it's like they own themselves or they both lose, quote unquote. You know, and I
Well,
think
I would say Kaguya-sama is a superior show in that it has a broader scope for them to find weird ways to come about with their ways of owning each other, whereas Takagi-san is very much grounded in, aside from Takagi's psychic abilities, it's very much trying to be grounded in reality and be sort of a down-to-earth type of thing.
look, man, if Takagi-san can make that kid say wiener like 8 times in a single episode, then maybe I'll change my mind. But
no, I think you make a valid point there. But I think another important thing that Kaguya-sama has on Takagi-san is the cast. That Takagi-san really only has Nishikata and Takagi, and everyone else sucks. Whereas in Kaguya-sama, you have like a decent supporting cast.
Yes.
But the thing I actually wanted to say about Takagi-san season 2 is that they did such a good job, like building up the tension in season 1.
Tension
to the point where you're just like, okay, they're just dating. You know, I remember that during the last episodes of the show, we're just saying, okay, we're just dating. They just haven't said it yet. But the point is, like, there is not going to be any progress in that regard. You don't even need to have read the manga to know that. To know that the second season will just be a rehash of the first one without further escalating the point where they left off at the end of season 1.
That's the thing. Like, I felt like I was tired of the plot halfway through season 1.
Yeah,
and so a whole second season of that is just unappealing to me.
It's just going to be more of, you know, Nishikata is going to school and he's like, hey, today I'll get Takagi-san with this. And then she shows up and she does the thing and he owns himself. And
I mean, you know, I guess at the end of the day, I guess at the end of the day, these kind of shows, it's like, well, I guess it's not hurting anybody, and there's probably somebody out there who's excited for this.
Right.
And I don't know. What studio's doing this? Does anybody remember? Or
Is it this?
no
I
idea?
think it's the same staff, right? So whatever we got in the first
I'd
one.
be interested in seeing some of the like sides material adapted, because like we already had the 3 girls bits in the first season, which is adapted from
which sucked.
Yeah, which is like adapted from one of the spin-offs, but there's also a spin-off about you know, Takagi and Nishikata when they're married and have a daughter, and
that would probably be a better way to play season 2.
And like cool hot mom Takagi keeps owning her daughter.
Yeah,
so
I
it would be interesting to see
like...
some bits from that in this anime as well.
I think that's the only. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say the only. I will probably watch this and I will probably enjoy it. It's just it's diminishing returns, right? But I think that's the only direction they could go that would like actually elevate this. If they swap out the like, I feel like I've blocked out the 3 girls segments, but when I really start thinking about it, that really like was a black mark on the first season.
Right.
So like,
I guess the Kotobuki writer has to get paid somehow.
Oh, it's the Kotobuki writer
between weird shows that nobody cares about.
But Kotobuki is so good, and I say good with like 3 sets of quotation marks.
Today I will finally humiliate Takagi-san by showing off my superior dogfighting skills.
Oh, if only.
Hey, what's up, Nishikata? I just got my degree for like professional pilot. Takagi-san, me.
All right. So that's
speaking of shows that are the same every season,
stupid but highly predictable.
Yep.
All right. So I guess Symphogear's coming back for season 5.
I
Considering none of us are actually have been watching the show, I don't know how much we want to actually say about it. Other than the sheer.
I must have completely zoned out during season 4 because I did not register there was a season 4.
I think this is the first time I've ever had the excuse to talk about Symphogear.
Are we sure they're not doing this like Yoko Taro style and airing season 5 before season 4?
No, but
I honestly couldn't tell you. Symphogear has been running for so long.
They announced them at the same time, though, right? Which was like a real
that's
bold
move. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
okay, I don't know.
The show is super popular, right?
The subtitle for this season's pretty good.
What is it?
Create a history with the light God could not know.
Okay, look, here's the thing, alright? So fine. Here's the thing about Symphogear. Symphogear's individual pieces are everything that I should love, right? Like hot-blooded protagonist, punching, fucking bitch kicked a mountain in half, all right? Like, there's like, it's like some fucking, kind of pseudo mecha musume Dragon Ball Z shit,
Yeah.
The problem is, I think with Symphogear, is that stuff is always kind of front and back loaded to the very extreme ends of the show's runtime, and then the middle is just filled with like the most bog standard, the most cliche shoujo magic girl adjacent quote unquote character drama that's not really drama. It's just ginned up bullshit to pad out the middle episodes of the season run.
There's all the good stuff that people talk about, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that, and you go to watch it and you realize that's maybe 20% of the show, and then you got the other 80% is just bad. And I've tried to watch the show 3 times now, and I just couldn't do it.
It's the main character, right? Fucking Hibiki, if you watch her at her best, she is fucking dropping all these fucking Noriko style gunbuster ass fucking speeches about hard work and guts, and the flames of her burning heart will purge evil and all this shit, right? I'm like, yo, hell yeah, let's get in on this shit. The thing they don't tell you is that's only Hibiki during the first episode and the last 2 episodes of every season. The rest of it is very much just I'm just a regular Japanese middle school students, with all of my regular girly fears and insecurities, and do my friends actually like me? Oh no, I can't tell because I accidentally saw them holding hands with another friend or something, and it's just it's
yeah, and it doesn't even do those things well. Right,
that's the other thing. It doesn't even do it well. Yes, it doesn't. Poorly.
If you describe it like this show really combines the 2 things that the internet loves the most, which is hot-blooded kung fu robots and lesbian melodrama.
I don't know. Based on the ratios, it seems like people seem to really like that lesbian melodrama a whole lot more. So,
anyways,
would you say this is a wow hot lesbians versus war is bad?
Man, I don't know if they've actually ever done a war is bad message, but I also stopped watching after 2 seasons, so
anyway,
who could say? Maybe they've gotten into geopolitics by the 5th season.
I have a feeling that you've made your decision on Symphogear by season 5, so I don't know if we're really helping anybody here, but there you go. Mm-hmm. It's coming back.
Well, speaking of other also very long running, arguably mediocre franchises running on, latent momentum.
Yes. So
wait, Fate's later on the list.
Oh, my bad.
I need a rim shot on the soundboard, right? But anyway, yes. So G is referring to a certain scientific accelerator, which is based off of a manga spinoff from a certain Magical Index series. And unfortunately, it's not the spin-off where Accelerator becomes an idol. That's another spin-off manga. And that's not a joke. That is a legitimate thing. No. This is a more conventional one where it's just going to be another story about him in Last Order and him having to go save Last Order or whatever.
See, this is Railgun made sense because you had a character that was incredibly popular but never got her due. in Index. But this is just a guy who is already basically becoming like the new protagonist of Index, who has entire sections of the story all about him, with him as the main character. And why are they still giving him a spin-off?
Because
that tracks then, right? That like if this dude is super popular, then it only stands to reason, like, why not like just give him more screen time, because like that's what the fans want, right?
Because they're giving him the screen time in the story proper.
Yeah. So
never no such thing as not enough spin-offs.
So for the record,
fate knows that.
For the record, I've been willing to put up with a lot of dumb things in this series, because it's like pretty much a series of dumb things.
Yeah, but I have held you to the fucking fire for this ever since y'all fucking like shouted me down and said that somehow this franchise was like actually like more consistent and better thought out than Fate Stay Night.
Okay, let's not get to that one. But one of my I absolutely hated this whole like rehabilitate Accelerator thing. Because he was like the big bad guy in the beginning of the series.
I don't know anything about it, but isn't he like a huge fucking asshole?
Yes, and he still is, but because he decided to protect this one little girl, because in the Index series you're handed a little girl once you become a main character.
Oh yeah, that sounds like character development to me.
Then suddenly he's like now like he's supposed to be like this anti-hero, like sort of I work for the good guys sometimes type of character.
Accelerator is such an incredibly stupid character. Like his whole thing is he's the strongest one of them all, and he wants to be left alone. So in the original series, his motive as a villain is I'm the strongest, but people still keep challenging me. So I want to become so strong that they'll just leave me the fuck alone. And the only way to become strong is to kill like a gazillion people. And after he gets defeated, he's like, oh, I guess I'm not the strongest anymore, so people won't bother me anymore. And then he just becomes a good guy because his problem is solved.
That's one way of looking at it.
That's how the show looks at it.
They also nerf his powers, because after he takes a bullet in the head to save Last Order, he can only use his powers for like a certain amount of time or whatever, because he was too powerful. So they had to find a way to make him more interesting by giving him some limitations. But I'm not a big fan of Accelerator, and I actually I must confess I never even finished season 3. I was trying to finish the Brexit arc.
I'm pretty sure no one finished season 3 of
Phoenix. I have to admit the Brexit arc is pretty good, but I have not been able to find the time.
Isn't the Queen of England a wizard or something? Like,
no, but she has a giant. She has a giant anime sword, though.
Okay, so it's almost a wizard, basically. Is that the
stab sword?
No,
that can cut through reality.
No, it's a sword that. Oh, okay.
It's fine.
Is this the sword that like materializes its slashes?
Kind of, yes, but
it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter.
It's a copy. So the one the Queen has is a copy of the original sword, which if the wielder has the sword and they're like in the British royal family line or whatever, they gain the power of a god, but only if they're on the soil.
Okay, so in Angel Notes, Gun God has the black barrel.
Only if they're on British soil, though. So
start talking about like fucking Caldebald or something.
So the Queen's daughter gets a hold of the sword and decides to declare Britain doesn't need any other help from outside countries, and everyone tries to come stop her. But so long as she's on British soil with this sword, she's invincible, and that's where
right. Like, does she also rename the country Avalon while she's at it?
I haven't finished watching yet, so I don't know. But it's the first time that Toma's power has not been able to cancel an ability.
Yes, he would have to punch Britain itself.
Yes, so he's probably going to have to touch Britain itself or something. I don't know.
He's going to have to punch Big Ben or something.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway,
just rip up a Union Jack.
We've wasted way more time on this than we probably should have.
Yes.
So,
speaking of wasting time.
Look, okay, wait. That's a good segue. I just want to say real quick, because we'll never ever fucking talk about this show otherwise, because it doesn't deserve it. In terms of like returning series, in terms of stuff that's like going into next season from this season, I guess Demon Slayer is continuing into next season.
Yeah,
sure.
I just
Carol
want to shout out that show continues to look fucking great, but also continues to squander all of its storytelling because of its god awful pacing.
Yep.
So it's a shonen adaptation then, right? That's
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I've said it multiple times, but in the age of My Hero Academia, like, just being a bog standard shonen adaptation, even one that looks really good, doesn't really cut it anymore. Like,
I don't know, people like Black Clover, right?
Well, look, there's no accounting for taste, but it's just the thing of like UFO Table has done really good work with this show visually. Like, there are some bits we were just watching the last episode that are like really visually stunning. They're very cool, but like they're at the cost of like 5 minutes of a character like doing the like Rurouni Kenshin thing of like flying through space while like internal monologuing, and like I guess it's that it's supposed to like in theory take place over the space of like 5 seconds, but like
it's one text box in a manga panel,
right? But it's like 5 minutes in show, and it's just like it drags the pacing down so hard, and like it's just a damn shame because like again, I'm not saying that this show is like anything special, like even if this were an adaptation as good as My Hero Academia's, I still wouldn't say it's like as good. But like there are cool things it does that it just constantly squanders because of like its weird devotion to like trying to be as perfect of an adaptation as possible of the original source material.
Right.
But that's really all that show deserves. So.
Carol on Tuesdays is continuing too, but we've been talking about that, and we'll probably continue to talk about it in some capacity. So just mentioning
yes, we will.
Continuing. All right, moving along, we have shows that we probably don't care about, but we're going to talk about anyway.
Great!
Hooray!
Probably
someone's got to do the Lord's work.
Yes, this is our job.
Is hella long.
This is our job, right? All right, let's start off with probably an appropriately titled show, Wasteful Days of High School Girl. It's not
so just the logical conclusion of the cute girls doing cute things.
Daily lives of high school boy.
Aqua, I did not see one single notable thing about this show. Do you have any comments?
It's called Wasteful Days of High School Girl, but it has more than one high school girl in it.
Oh, the children.
Oh, so this is a children like Evangelion situation, but in reverse.
I mean, Japanese doesn't have plural, so
yeah. I mean, it looks like a 4 girls hang out at school and tease each other comedy thing. It's probably going to be fine, but
yeah. I mean, this may be like some like weird, like sarcastic, weird, absurd bullshit like Daily Lives of High School Boys, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
Yeah. Well, I might have to save my strength for the girls' high school comedy thing for the Maidens in our Savage season, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, we'll see.
Next.
Let's keep it moving then to oh god. So
what now?
We have another show called The Ones Within.
Okay, I mean that's a like cool-ish title.
Kind of like a battle royale series, except all
tell me more.
Except all the participants are like YouTube Let's Players.
Oh, right.
That have been transported to this like.
Oh no!
So we're rooting for Takashi Kitano. Then I take it like we want him to kill all these kids.
Well, that was the description that Aqua's written down, but when I actually watched the trailer, it's kind of like weird and lighthearted looking, but there's like the bad guy I think has like
directed by Shin Onuma.
The bad guy has like an alpaca head, there's a giant panda bear. I don't know what's going on, man. I hate
maybe they're not supposed to kill each other, but just like compete with each other. I didn't bother to actually.
Well, there might actually just be like some kind of game they have to play for them all to live or something, like survive or something.
Yeah.
Oh boy, the writer for this has worked on Kamen Rider Go and Shuriken Sentai Ninja.
Oh boy,
two of our least favorite
Toku shows. Yeah,
sounds promising.
And I hate.
What is interesting?
Go ahead, Aqua.
What is interesting about this is that it is the first time in a long time since that Shin Onuma directs at Silverlink again. So at least this will look interesting.
Yeah. Has he really not done anything recently? Because I think
the last thing he did at Silverlink was what's it called?
Prismalia.
No. The second Hate Watch show.
Oh,
if only my little sister was here. That one,
because that show also looked bad. Like he went on such a string of bad shows that I just stopped paying attention to him, even though I was really high on him like years ago. Like because it wasn't even just like they were bad shows, but they looked nice, like Watamote or something. It's like they just started looking bad too. So it was just like, what am I even here for? So I've kind of not been paying attention to him. So
aren't you the Baka test apologist in here?
But that was 9 years ago. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you watch that show nowadays, you think, "Oh my god!"
I would still love it, but
really,
yeah, I would still love it, but I would probably be less defensive of it. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I would not get my hopes up on this one either.
Great,
right, Aqua. Be honest. Okay. This next one, did you just put this in here to make a Kingdom Hearts joke?
Yes.
Okay.
And also to say that these like stupid fucking idol multimedia projects are horrible and the bane of anime, and I want them to die forever.
All right, before we get to that, the title is Kingdom Hearts Restage! Dream Days 8th Note 2.8.
I just want to say that, okay, actually, go ahead. I'll say at the end.
So, and as Aqua mentioned, this is another attempt to cash in on the multimedia idol project, which I feel like we must be at a saturation point for now, right?
I think basically every big producer in the anime world wants its own of that. That I think that's just the thing. It's just like how every game developer wants his own, or game publisher wants its own Destiny. Like that's like the big thing that you can make a lot of money on, so everyone has to have one. And some of them succeed and some of them fail, and it'll just disappear in a couple of years.
So everybody's making an idol anime to kick off a gacha game.
Yeah, with the voice actresses are also idols, and they perform and they do songs from the thing. Like the multimedia project kind of thing. All of these... Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
From all of these, I still think Review Starlight was actually the most interesting one, simply because that was a show about people in theater school, and instead of them just being idols, they had the voice actresses doing actual stage shows.
Yeah, they tried at least to do.
Was that the one with cool animation that didn't?
That was the one. Yeah, that was the one with the awesome transformation sequence. I mean, that show at least had some kind of core to it of homaging Japan's very distinct theater culture. Yeah, whereas all of the other ones are just, this is Love Live.
Idol cash grab.
Not Love Live.
This one looks awful because they're using designs that look like peak 2009 Moe anime, little girl designs.
Oh, good.
If people still say Moe, but that's what
So
back in my days, we still called things Moe.
It's a very easy shortcut.
Get out of here, Travis touchdown.
I was going to say, is this or is another which multimedia idol franchise is the anthem of multimedia idol franchises? Which one is just the one?
I don't know. Maybe this will be
Wake Up Girls. Wake Up Girls.
Which is the one that just never stood a chance right from the get-go?
Wake Up Girls lasted.
Wake Up Girls.
Wake Up Girls lasted pretty long though. They actually got another season and everything. They never got a gacha game though, because that came out before.
We need to move on. We need to move on, but I have one thing to say about the show.
Fine. Yes.
The director of the show storyboarded an episode of Spider Riders.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Oh yeah. All right. I'm back on board. Let's do it. Bang Restage Dream Days. Bang whatever 2.8. Let's go.
All right. So.
Bang Stage Dream Live Starlight.
I can't say this next title straight face.
You have to.
You want me to say it? I'll say it.
Jell, you have to.
It's Hensuki, are you willing to fall in love with a pervert as long as she's a cutie?
No.
I mean, so how cute?
Okay, so
What's the downside here?
my so first of all, I have some things to say about this. First of all, the premise of the show is this. It's a harem show. The guy gets a love letter in his locker that also has a pair of panties in it, and he surmises that it has to be one of 4 girls, and he has to spend the show figuring out which of the 4 girls sent his panties to him. So, first of all, let me just say, let's not shame this woman because sending your panties in a letter is a pretty baller move, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a power move.
It's a power move, at the very least. Second of all, this is basically the plot of Ichigo 100%, if anybody remembers that.
I was right. Didn't I? Yeah.
I was about to say, I think I've played this sub-story in Yakuza before, but...
and I think I had a third point, but I don't really remember what it is, and it's probably not.
The writer of this worked on Yumeiro Patissiere.
Okay.
So there you go. There's your. Oh, and I'm assuming the abbreviation, the Hensuki, is a combination of hentai and ski for love. So
I mean,
congratulations, you pass Japanese 101.
So that's a hashtag to only rival Oni-nyan as far as
we had to invoke the Oni-nyan.
Someday.
Son of a bitch. Every day I go without thinking about that goddamn thing is a victory, and you had to bring it up.
Big counter in the GLORIO blog offices.
Yes.
Days without mentioning Oni-nyan.
Look, 0. I think
Aqua beat me to the joke.
Yes, there's an unspoken law on the GLORIO network that Oni-nyan actually has to be invoked at set periods because that is the only way to ward off its power.
Well, we've also said if it ever does get when it does get an anime, because it will happen someday, that's when we shut the blog down. But we'll see. All right, so that show looks bad.
Yeah, let's just keep rolling.
Let's move along to another show called Given, which I think is just look like a band anime. Is there some other hook here I'm not missing? Or
K-On! With hot boys, basically.
Okay.
It has some interesting stuff because, like, it's one of the few anime directed by a woman, but it looks pretty nice. Actually, I watched the trailer, but
actually didn't.
That's it.
On this one.
Like, if you like hot boy anime, this might be a good hot boy anime.
So I'm looking at the notes. Are they a butt rock band? Because that's important.
No,
that would actually make me more excited if they were like just straight up
butt rock. I mean, like the fucking like quote unquote indie rock that is like used for anime openings. The like super like generic synthesized with like a super whiny singer. I mean, and that is what this sounds like.
Is this an original or an adaptation?
No, this is an adaptation.
Okay, never mind that.
I was hoping that when you said butt rock, I was like, oh man, are they gonna be playing like Buckethead covers or something?
But... No, it's not like Motley Crue, the anime.
Anyway, so yeah, I guess that's going to be one of those shows that me and Artemis end up watching and nobody else does. But
right.
But we'll probably still sell like hotcakes in Japan.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. All right. Moving along is a show so boring that Aqua didn't write any notes for it.
No. I couldn't come up with anything.
I'll give you a take on this one. The name of the show is Machikado Mazoku, which is about some demon girl sent to kill some magical girl or something, but she's really bad at it, so it ends up being like this cute slice of life show thing. So basically this is like if you guys remember Gabriel Dropout, if you change that to
or
Star,
intro from like
if you change Gabriel's Dropout to Star Satania, which would be a huge improvement, but still a bad show. That's basically the premise of.
I mean, this is.
Go ahead.
It's also very reminiscent of Endro from I think last season.
That was more than one season ago.
Was it? Yeah, but like about the 4 adventurer girls and then like the demon lord who becomes this cute little girl and hangs out with them. But I think the idea behind this is like there's a magical girl in town, and this girl is like cursed to become one of the generic monsters of the day that the magical girl fights, except she's terrible at her job. So, and the magical girl is also her classmate.
Of course.
Which,
So she's
I mean,
so
I
she's the
guess-
token. So she's the token good monster from episode like 32.
Yeah, like that sounds like a cool idea, like this generic monster of the week as your protagonist, but it is one of those manga time Kirara for Koma manga,
Yeah.
so it's going to be exactly like all the other manga time Kirara for Koma adaptations.
actual premise.
I feel like this doesn't deserve any more airtime than we've already
the
given
actual
it.
premise
so-
will not be
Yeah.
any. Will have no bearing on the actual show. It's just going to be a cute slice of life show. All right, let's move along then.
Moving
So-
on.
It's
Let's get
time
into the
for our
bad
token. Yeah, time for the token show we might refuse to outright cover.
Well, okay.
because it's just that horrible.
First, let me just say this next show is not technically an isekai show, but I feel like we should just lump it in with all of them because there's a bit of an isekai
Yeah.
resurgence next.
I call it legally distinct from isekai because it does not feature someone reincarnating into another world, but the lazy world building is the exact same as an isekai anime.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean a resurgence? It's just the wave has
we
never
don't-
stopped.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
No.
feel like it's never.
No, you
stopped.
guys. I don't think you guys have been taking the count. I've been taking the count. We have not had 5 in a season for a long time.
Okay, fine. You want to go to that extreme?
Yeah,
then yes.
there's only been like 1 or 2 every season the past couple seasons. So this is like
I mean, we can only hope that it'll be some sort of like, fucking mutually assured destruction thing that they just
Actually-
in the same season means they all just end up killing each other.
Yeah, actually, there's 6 of them. I did not include Konosuba season 2.
oh okay, well that's returning. So 5 new ones, but and that's a Konosuba would be season 3 actually. So and Konosuba is actually
Oh no, sorry, it's not Konosuba. It's the one with Hestia. Is it okay to pick up girls in a dungeon?
that
But that's not isekai,
also not
right? That's
technically-
like legal.
not legal,
Technically,
That's
yeah.
legally distinct from
Yeah,
isekai.
that was just fantasy.
but it has all the dumb
Dang.
game mechanics and everything in it. Anyway, so the show we're talking about is
Christ.
if it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord. And
Okay.
what happens when you try to cross dad anime with isekai? It's not a good mix.
See,
did-
I was gonna say like, I don't know, man. If this is like Sweetness and Lightning or something,
It's-
like,
yeah,
I don't
and-
know.
no,
it's not.
I
no.
want that shit.
no.
No, it's got all the creepy.
Is he trying to fuck the daughter?
No, I mean, I have read confirmation that this has a buddy drop style time skip
Good,
with
good.
all of the things that
Good,
implies.
good. Do they justify by saying actually no? You see, the daughter initiated it, so that's why it's okay.
Oh,
I have no idea, but
yeah. The less said about that, the better. So yeah, you can watch the trailer and just tell like this is not a because like I agree, G. You could actually do a dad anime isekai that would be kind of interesting, like if you took it like an actual dad anime. But this is more much like I can even tell from the trailer. There's a creepier vibe to it. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, like, what I'm literally saying is that, like, in a perfect world, you would literally do, like, a gender swap of one of the later isekai anime on this list we're going to talk about, but with, like, none of the creepy undertones, and I feel like you could almost have a workable premise with that.
Right.
I get the feeling that describes so much anime.
We're so close.
Like this would work if it weren't creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fix this, you fix that, you throw out all the creepy shit.
Like
almost a
you have
workable premise.
you have like this anime, and I was on Manga Dex the other day, and I was like, checking out this new manga, and it was like the description, like he's a loner, but one day his new stepsister arrives, and she tries to pull him out of his shell, and you know where this goes. But on the other hand, you also have this idea of like, if this weren't creepy, that would be a valid premise for like a fun, like slice of life thingy. But
If it weren't
because
creepy.
it's anime, that it's not that, and it's just stupid creepy fan service instead.
Anyways, again, do we really need to say more about this? I think we've all established. Look,
it'll be
it's
fun.
not going to be for any of us. There will probably be a gigantic subsection of the anime fan base that eats this shit up.
Like, my asterisk is, by the way, is Sweetness and Lightning still on Crunchyroll manga? Because if so, that thing's over and it's really good.
Yes.
Yeah, people should go check that
If you
out.
want an actual good dad anime, check that out. Or
Yes.
I'll get my reference into Hinamatsuri, but
Yeah. Also, well, I mean, good dad anime in the sense that the anime is good, but maybe the dad is not. But
good bad dad anime.
I mean, the daughter's also not great. Let's not
yes, they deserve each other. It's beautiful.
All right.
Do we rate that anime on like an axis with on the y-axis good bad dad and on
Like
the
quality of the
x-axis
dad.
good bad anime?
Yes. So those are both much better options. Anyway, so now we'll get into the actual isekai shows. We have
Oh boy.
Maou-sama Retry, which is Overlord. Do we even need to say anything else about it? It's a guy who works at a company and ends up being the villain in the.
I'm happy it's not one of these. I reincarnated as the evil guy, and also all of the hot girls from my class are here, and they are my slaves now. I mean, at least it's not that.
As far as we know, there's no slavery, so bonus points.
Well, I guess my question is, like, I feel like I'm not even going to defend it. I don't care for it, but, like, I feel like Overlord is probably the one isekai anime that kind of has the corner on that isekai niche of I am an isekai world, but I am the bad dude. So, like, what do any of these other ones offer that does anything demonstrably different?
I mean, there have been plenty more, but
yeah, I guess so. That's why I'm like, why do they keep putting out more?
Yeah. No, people keep watching them, I guess, is the reason. So the next one, I guess, what is it? Arifureta from Commonplace to World's Strongest. So I guess the hook on this one is his class joins him getting transported.
Yeah, like an entire class gets transported, and everyone gets cool cheat skills and unique classes, except for him. He is just a villager or some bullshit. And then he becomes the strongest, and yeah, you know how this goes.
Yeah.
Let's move on. This one I actually want to watch, which is
really. I feel like this is the one I'm actually the most concerned about.
I want to watch it for the train wreck factor, not like
Gel's thing, right?
No, I'm not like legitimately thinking this is going to be a good show. I just want to see what kind of sheer stupidity they're going to come up with.
The title makes me laugh every time.
Exactly.
Like,
so
it's fucking dumb.
This is do you love your mom and her 2-hit multi-target attacks?
I think that's even like an abbreviated version of the actual title.
Probably.
Because I think the actual title is like, do you love her mom? Her regular attack is worth 2 attacks with critical hit value or something like that.
What? Ugh, that's...
Yeah, so this is Isekai, but what if your mom goes with you?
Look, I don't...
Your hot anime mom, of course.
I cannot see this going well. Like,
are they like not blood related or something? Is that the thing?
Is this just going to be a reverse bunny drop situation? Like, is this dude literally going to fuck his mom? Like, is that where they're angling with?
I don't think that's like. I didn't get the impression that that's the angle they're taking.
Really? Are you sure? Because like,
no, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think that's where they're going with it. I think it's more he's trying to get with the other girls, and it's funny because his mom is there. But
that would work. That would work if I have like a standard generic isekai, except like our protagonist is super horny for all his harem girls, but like mom gets in the way every time, and he's like useless, and she's super powerful.
My problem, I guess, my issue is that like because of what anime is at its fucking dark, black-hearted core, like.
Every anime ends like a Lonely Island song.
Like
with incest.
No, yeah. Basically, I have no fucking faith in this show to actually maintain the like, haha, he wants to have a harem, but his mom won't let him. Without the anime eventually just fucking like, you know, letting go of that one restraint, and eventually the mom just joins the harem too, right? Like there is like no, I have zero faith in this anime's ability to avoid.
You're 100% right, G. And I would not be surprised if that's the direction it goes. But I have like a small percentage of hope that that's not the case. I don't like. Again, I just want everybody 100% clear. I don't think the show is going to be good. I just want to see what they do with the show. That's all.
We want to be 100% certain the GLORIO blog does not endorse fucking your mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
We are merely interested from a scientific perspective, from a societal viewpoint.
Aqua, you're supposed to stop. You were supposed to stop at the first sentence.
Yes, we're just interested from an academic perspective.
Okay.
If who fucks his mom or not.
So finally on our Isekai list. So Aqua, you said there's nothing unique on this show. There is actually a hook to this. So the title, there's nothing interesting about the title, which is Isekai Cheat Magician. They're not even hiding it.
Throw it in the trash
on this one. But the hook here is that he's joined by his childhood friend character in the Isekai world. So that's like the watered down version of that earlier one where he brings his entire class with him, I guess. Still not the most generic title I've ever seen, though. I don't know if you guys remember Magical Warfare from a couple years ago. That's still the
vaguely.
That's still the crown holder for most like lazy generic title of all time. This is close though. All right, so that ends the shows that we probably don't care about. I guess we're going to move on to the shows that we probably do care about, although I would question that
maybe
on some of these.
The ones we care about like mildly more than the previous.
I mean, yes, I guess we could describe this next list as the like higher profile shows, the shows that either for some reason or another are either worth covering or paying attention to because of just the pedigree or the size of the franchise or the people involved.
Yes, so at least we're gonna watch them, and maybe there's a slim chance that they'll be okay. So anyway, the first one is To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, which is going to be the latest Mappa production. It's another one of the latest of the turn of the century fake Europe fantasy anime things that seem to be a trend these days.
Yeah, seems a weirdly common trend as of the last few years.
Isn't this by the same creator as Dusk Maiden?
Yeah.
So how much like ghost fucking is there going to be in there?
I guess we'll find out. In this case, they're like these magical beasts that were created for some war, and now that the war's over, they have to like acclimate to society.
Gee, that sounds familiar.
Which sounds awfully familiar to a certain series. For
the record, I don't know if we ever said it on the podcast, but Fairy Gone was bad, and we stopped watching it. So,
yes. So we are. We
found the answer. It is very bad.
Yeah. To Fairy Gone, it seems like To the Abandoned Sacred Beast is almost like word for word the same premise. That said, we don't want to call it a copy of Fairy Gone because I think technically the manga of this came before Fairy Gone, so technically this is the more original of the two. But
it sure looks pretty similar, though. Even just watching
the
trailer.
I mean, Mappa does. Well, after Dororo, I'm not so sure anymore. But Mappa does decent work for the most part, and like
correction, Mappa has other studios do good work and then put their name on it.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
But I've always liked the premise. I've always liked the core conceit of these anime. Like I love post-war stories. I love stories that kind of do that kind of Valkyria Chronicles style like world building. I've always enjoyed those premises. So far, it has usually not really worked out in my favor, but I'll be willing to at least give this one a few episodes to see if it can do anything to dramatically change my mind.
Yeah,
we'll check it out. But I have a feeling it's just gonna be like Fairy Gone.
Yeah.
All right, moving along, we have Astra Lost in Space, which is I think it's actually kind of an interesting concept, but watching the trailer, it just kind of I don't know. It's about.
Did you see the trailer? Was it the trailer that just looks like the movie Gravity?
Yeah, well, it's about a group of high school kids who go to space camp and end up like lost in space somewhere, and they find like an abandoned ship and have to like survive and get back.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like the premise, I was like, "Yo,
Yeah, it sounds all right.
I'm kind of into
Yeah.
that." Like, that's
And the,
I don't think I've ever.
It's the director
Every
of
time-
Love.
Oh,
every time I see promo art for that show, I always think, Mizukami, is that you?
that is a very Mizukami ass premise, isn't it?
Oh man!
somebody get that man on the phone.
Made me sad.
But yeah, that's the thing. As someone who has never seen anything but one piece of promo art, has not watched any of the PVs, like it's a shame because I think premise wise, I'm like, I'd be into this. This sounds like this sounds like one of the like a billion like survival video games that have come out in the last like 5 years that are this premise. Is this just like No Man's Sky the anime? Like I guess we say this a lot about anime. If done well, I feel like this would be a really neat concept. And
It's written by the guy who did School Live.
Yes.
I've
So
never
School
heard of
Live,
that.
if anybody forgot, is the
It's the zombie.
it's the one that looked like that they tried to sell as a cute girl show, and it turned out to be
that
have a dark
one,
zombie
that
undercurrent. So there may
Yeah.
be
How did that one
um,
end up?
that was actually pretty good, if we're being honest.
Yeah. All right.
It was our number 10 anime.
It was
that
all
year.
right.
Oh wow, was it?
yeah,
Okay,
like,
I totally.
It wasn't
forget.
like a masterpiece or anything, but it did what it was attempting to do fairly well.
I mean, what is the twist with this one then? Actually, it's like
Are they gonna? Well, that's what I'm wondering. Are they gonna get into like the nitty gritty of like rationing out food and like
yeah.
No,
I was more angling in. Is the twist going to be like actually this is all the delusions of like one of the survivors who got like spaced out of like a fucking like ship explosion, and this is like the delusions of their like last 5 minutes of oxygen running out.
Yeah, I would hope he wouldn't pull the same twist again, but I guess we'll,
But
Off-brand Xenomorph shows up.
yeah. All right. Well, what? I'll say one last thing about that show and name drop. They kind of reminded me of nobody's going to remember Classroom Crisis, which I watched for some.
You're right, I don't.
Which I watched for some and wrote about every week for some inexplicable reason.
That sounds like
Which
Joe.
was like this show about this group of high school kids who were trying to build a spaceship, and the kind of look and feel of it felt very similar to me. So if anybody out there actually remembers that show, which was not, it was pretty average. It was not good nor bad. But if anybody actually remembers that, that's what the vibe I'm getting from this. Anyway, that aside, let's
oh boy,
talk about
get into this section next.
we're doing a 2-for-1 here. We've got Dr. Stone and Fire Force.
Someone on some committee somewhere has been really pushing Fire Force.
Yeah,
I feel like there have been trailers for this thing for the past like year.
it's
or,
kind of
like-
it's kind of weird. I mean,
I mean, it's by the guy who did Soul Eater.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
Soul Eater is
it's
pretty
so
so hard.
they're pushing on this very hard. Like, and I wonder how much of this is the kind of like in the vacuum left behind by like Bleach and Naruto. This is just another case of like people, is this another like Toriko situation where people are trying to push this very hard as like the next big shonen, like this is going to sit up there with My Hero Academia, that kind of thing. Like, because here's the thing, prior to this anime, like Fire Force had been, the manga had been running for a while already, and
Yeah.
nobody talked about it. Nobody talks about Fire Force. Like, it is, like, I read a couple chapters, like, and so, like, I'm not gonna act like I know really, like, if that thing picks up or not, but the general vibe of Fire Force is, like, it is exactly what you expect as, like, the bog standard sophomoric effort from, like, an established shonen author who, like, made it big with like their first like kind of striking marquee project, and like this is the thing that they make next that just like inevitably cannot really live up to
Yeah.
the
G.
As someone who has read quite a bit of the manga, I can say that it does significantly pick up after the opening chapters, which are indeed very generic. But once the
Okay,
cast,
I was
once
just
the
like,
cast
yeah.
opens up and the lore gets a bit more complicated, it becomes rather very interesting, and it gets a lot of merit out of just that unique art style.
I guess that is true. I have seen some pages from that manga that are pretty striking in the way that Soul Eater was.
I should point out, this is not actually about firefighters. This is about literal like fire monster things that they're fighting, but they kind of they're dressed as firefighters.
They also do generic firefighting.
Okay, so they do both.
Oh, so it's fucking Promare, or to be more accurate, Promare was copying firefighters.
But the interesting thing behind this, I think, is that the author kind of handicapped himself in that all superpowers are the same. Everyone has the same superpower. Everyone controls fire, but everyone does it in a different, unique way. And it gets absolutely bonkers with like
you get some like real like fucking
insane like things, physics bullshit they pull off with like, yes, you can totally do this if you could control fire.
That's
like,
technically fire.
Yeah.
Is this the new lightning bending? Lightning is technically fire.
Yeah. Well.
All right. So what about Dr. Stone?
Yeah. That's
so Dr. Stone is.
Sorry, you go. You go ahead.
Unlike Fire Force, Dr. Stone is an actual Shonen Jump. I think Fire Force is like monthly Shonen magazine. Yeah, right. The big competitor. But Dr. Stone is actual like a actual Shonen Jump, and it's mostly known for being drawn by
Boichi.
Who is like a Korean artist who can draw women.
I mean, yes, I was going to say look, I think he's a pretty good artist, period. I think that he does good work, but yes, I would be lying if his...
I did a random manga by Boichi once.
Yeah.
What is Dr. Stone actually about? I have not done any thing on that one. Does anybody know?
I think it's about... No, it's about an event that causes people to turn to stone. So our main character is one of the few survivors, and his girlfriend turns to stone. So he looks for a way to de-stonify her. But if I'm correct, and this is not really a spoiler, but then the main character just sort of fucks off, and the weird mad professor sidekick becomes the real main character.
Huh. Okay.
Isn't this about like? Doesn't it become this weird like? How do we rebuild society thousands of years later, or something like?
All I know is that it is considered to be unique. It's often named along with The Promised Neverland as like the kind of out there Shonen Jump manga. Like,
okay, sure. I guess I was being a little unfair to it then because, like, again, because of the art by Boichi, who I primarily associate with the like fucking top tier until a certain chapter fighting manga Sunken Rock, which is like only like fucking 5 people are ever gonna know what I'm talking about here, but it's kind of like a Holy Land tier like fighting manga.
Okay,
like, it's really it is some badass like kind of seinen adjacent fighting shit that like kind of look at a certain chapter. I'm not gonna get into the rant here. A certain chapter or a certain arc happens and the thing completely fucking implodes on itself. But up until that point, it was a very solid piece of work. It's a
Yakuza thing, right? It's a Yakuza themed manga, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's underground fight rings and all that shit. Like it is very much kind of like in that vein.
I mean, I mostly know that manga from like that. It seems to be partially based on his own experience as a Korean in Japan.
Yeah. I will save most of my energy talking about any fighting manga for later in this podcast. But Sunken Rock, up until a certain arc, pretty good.
Okay, then.
How did that relate to Dr. Stone? I'm sorry.
Same artist.
Same artist. My bad.
I lost track on that one. Okay.
Lost the thread.
So yeah, the thing is, these are two high-profile shonen animations that have a lot of money thrown at them. Fire Force, as you say, has been being promoted for like a year now. It has a very
what studio is doing it?
It's David, the guys who did JoJo. But like it's there's been a lot of talk, I think, in the like weird animation section of the anime fandom about how this show has like a noticeably unique production schedule in that they're way ahead of schedule, as opposed
maybe that's
as
why they can afford to promote so much.
Yeah, as contrasted to other anime. And I mean, I can say or summarize that very succinctly. This is a show all about fire, people fighting fire monsters with fire powers, and the fire is all hand drawn.
Wow, that actually is fairly impressive.
So yeah, that should tell you something about the production values of this show.
I think, I guess for me, I think, I guess the thing I was very curious about, and it's good to hear that visually it's coming together, is because I think for better or worse, like, I think the real reason people talk about Soul Eater, like the anime, is because it is like maybe one of Studio Bones' best adaptations up until the final episode. But until then, like, it boasted maybe some of the most like individually talented people that like have ever worked at Bones.
I mean, this is a show from the golden age of Bones, when they did Brotherhood and Oran High and stuff like that.
Yeah, like like some of the biggest names that are working on stuff like My Hero Academia, for example, like cut their teeth on Soul Eater, and it was just a really visually stunning anime, and kind of also of that era where like Bones also earned its reputation of not being able to write an ending to save its life, which tragically happened to Soul Eater, though in all fairness, the Soul Eater manga, I personally also did not think did not end that great, so kind of split the difference on that one. But it is cool to hear that this one is visually coming together, because I feel like one of Soul Eater's strengths was its the way the anime handled its visuals. So to hear that they're kind of doing something similar with this one, that is encouraging to hear, and I think I'll probably have to try and stick with it longer than I did the manga, which just really did not. I mean, I read it when I was at a time when I was pretty busy, but I was just like, I don't got fucking time for another shonen manga like this.
Yeah, but, I just hope for their sake that they try to rush through these first arcs.
Yeah.
Up until the show actually finds like a voice for itself.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that'll conclude our shonen update for this episode. Let's move along to a show called Granbelm, which is...
Yeah, I'm curious about this one.
Is it a magical girl show with robots, or a robot show with magical girls?
It's an eternal debate.
They're pilot mechs. That's all I got. And they've got magic mechs.
I did not know about this until literally yesterday.
It's probably notable to us because it's an anime original, and the writer is Juki Hanada, who worked on many things, but mostly worked
many things.
Yeah, real hit and miss, honestly. But they worked on To the Place Further Than the Universe last year, which was our number one. The South Pole show.
Yes, so that and
so I mean, I really like that show, but also like they've done enough stuff that it could be bad. So
you're basically saying that this is a person who has written so much they have happened to write good things, but not indicative of their actual batting average.
No, but I mean, they've written. Juki Hanada has written A Place Further Than the Universe, Bloom Into You, K-On!, Sound Euphonium, all great manga, all great shows, but not mecha shows. Not mecha shows, not magical girl shows, not even something remotely like action, adventure, fantasy, sci-fi related. So that's going to be the challenge here.
They did some stuff in like they did Robotics Notes. They did. Steins Gate.
Robotics Notes is probably as much to blame on its original source material as its adaptation.
Yeah. But, right, it did Steins Gate. All right, sure.
I think, there's always something to be said about a writer or a director who is like new to the genre, because they can often introduce like novel concepts. Of course, the double-edged sword of that is that their lack of familiarity with like,
genre convention.
Right, with the genre conventions can sometimes lead to like them making the same mistakes that people already like solved narratively like decades ago. But they're in the writing position, which I guess, depending on who the director is, like, there could still be something, there could still be like interesting writing, combined with like solid, visual and narrative directing.
From what I'm seeing, like, because obviously Shuki Inada's done a lot of anime over the years. When given the opportunity to do original works or take things in original directions, like if you look at the Kyoto Animation adaptations, like all those shows, like most of them are better than the original material because of the original content. That's encouraging. The trailer looks okay. I think it's probably gonna be leaning more toward the cute girl stuff than the mecha anime stuff.
Well, I'm at least curious about it, which is more than I can say for most of the things on this list.
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I
don't love the
I do want to
designs,
drop.
but
Do they really?
Go ahead.
So
Do they really pilot the robots? Because from the trailer, it looks like they're puppeteering the robots, which
It's
is
just
cool.
it's another way of
that's just
piloting
another
them.
way of piloting. Like,
So-
I guess.
It's a cool visual thing, though. Yeah.
Domon pilots the Shining Gundam just the same as Amuro pilots the RX-78-2. The interface may be
Before we go off on a Gundam tangent, one final note. I'm looking at, this was done by Studio Nexus, whose only previous full-length series have been Sisters All You Need, which is the second time we've mentioned that on the podcast.
Oh,
Oh
Good.
boy.
Which I will say is notorious for the absolutely god-awful production values.
great.
And you guys remember Oni Eye?
Wait. No, you said A Sister's All You Need, which is a different anime from If Only My Little Sister Was Here. Is it? Wait,
I
is
thought
it?
that's the one you were referring to.
No, wait. Which is the one? We're both referring to the one by the guy who did Haganai, right?
Yes, but Sister or
No, wait, because there's another like stupid
Oh
little
my
sister
God.
one that is like famous for being
Did I-
a production
did I
train
get the
wreck.
title mixed up? I did the hate watch. I mean, I thought it
Yeah,
was.
no, you're correct. You're correct. It's called A Sister's
Christ.
All You Need.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one we're referring to. Yes,
And then because there's another one that's also like famously a production disaster.
oh, there's a lot of
Isn't
those.
there-
Yeah, no, there was.
Isn't
There
it
was
one
a
of these
more.
little sister shows that's famous for actually being animated really well?
Oremo.
Yeah, like
Yeah, sure,
Well,
maybe. I don't know.
Aromanga Sensei was also animated very well.
Right, maybe that's the one.
And I would argue that
about.
Oni Eye, as I was getting to, also looked pretty good from production.
This is the worst tangent we've ever done.
But if anybody forgot, Oni Eye was the it doesn't
Why
matter.
not Emoto?
If it doesn't matter, it's my brother as long as there's love or whatever is the full title. And then that was the one with the infamous blowjob OP. So
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
now G remembers.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Just
okay.
those words.
Yes, with the and the only
I was not aware that there was an anime opening that could be described as the blowjob OP.
and the only redeeming quality was the girl with the eye patch. But anyway, we really need to move on from that one.
Yes.
We've gone too far. Let's talk about
All right.
let's talk about Dogakobo.
Fucking my turn.
So the I guess the title they've settled on so far is How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift, which we've been constantly saying
Is a bad
should have
translation.
been like
It's a bad
Do You Even Lift
translation.
Bro or whatever. But
Yes, I mean even the original Japanese title is roughly adjacent with Japan's own equivalent to that meme tick phrase of like
yes.
of "Do you even lift?"
But this is about it's your cute anime girls club show, except this time they're working out and they're all kind of ripped.
well, some of them are.
Except
I
they're
will
not
say
ripped.
that.
Yeah.
Or they're trying.
Whole
Okay,
thing.
They're trying to
as
get
somebody
ripped.
as somebody who has read the manga for reasons, I will say that some of them are more fit than others. But yes, none of them are particularly what you would call ripped.
They're
Um,
trying though. They're
Yeah, but they are trying. Yes. Most people have just kind of taken to calling it Danberu because like ain't nobody gonna fucking write out how heavy are the dumbbells you can lift every single time. The reason why this is even remotely notable at all
Explain
is
yourself, G.
because yes, is because it is a manga written by Sandrovic Yabako, who is also the writer of the fighting manga Kengan Azura and its sequel Kengan Omega. Which I will also point out, we didn't.
Thank God, I didn't realize there was a sequel. Just called, just called fucking Kengan Omega.
Oh, it's really good. I've been reading it right now. It's actually a really solid sequel that like does all the kind of like smart things a sequel should. But anyways, the difference is he uses different artists for each for Danberu as opposed to Kengan Azura /
Yes,
Omega.
they're very different looking.
Which I'll also point out that Kengan Azura is technically also airing this season. We did not put it in the notes, but it is a Netflix quote unquote original. Unfortunately, Kengan Azura is an all CG production, which has not looked good. It has been argued that perhaps it is a necessity because that manga is like Fight City 24/7, and animating that by hand would require perhaps a larger budget than they are willing to allocate to it. But anyways, the main reason I'm talking about that is because Danberu takes place in the same universe as Kengan Azura.
Okay.
Yes. They share they are part of the wider Kengan universe that are part of Sandrovic Yabako's like wider like greater narrative like universe that he's created. Of the primary cast, one is the younger sister of a minor Kengan Azura character, one is friends with another, and the third is implied to be the daughter of yet another major Kengan Azura character, but has yet to be confirmed one way or another.
Isn't Kengan Azura on Netflix?
That's what
I just said that.
Okay,
yes, it's a Netflix original. And look, I'm not really gonna like fucking go to bat here for Danberu. It is exactly what you think it is. You know, it is. It's a bunch of girls who decided to start lifting weights to get into shape. Which, in all fairness, I will say I highly support because I think that actually, as somebody who weightlifts, I think weightlifting is actually one of the best ways to like get into shape in terms of your bang for your buck. Investment, but
it's just that they have to frame it as the the girl's trying to get her to join the weightlifting club because she has a muscle fetish or whatever.
Well, yeah. So that is the thing. Yes, like one of the characters mainly drags the others into it because she has an uncontainable fetish for ripped dudes. So
yeah. So they could have just made it where everybody goes and works out or whatever, but they have to add that layer. I'm not probably actually going to watch Danberu. Like, I've read some of it just because, like, I was like, oh shit, it's that character from Kengan Azura is just in the background of this shot or something, wild. You know? But we also, of course, have to do our seasonal Why Dogakobo Why, although I guess at least this time they're not explicitly featuring pedophiles yet, from what I can tell.
As far as I know, I don't think I don't think Danberu has any pedophiles. I say that with 70% confidence.
In this case, we go back to the audience being the pedophiles.
Sure, but I will.
We at least know it'll look nice and be well animated. Yes.
I'm just saying, why couldn't Dogakobo have animated Kengan Azura? Just switch those two productions around.
Make this the CG one, the all CG.
Yes, because, I'm not going to, go to... I'm probably never going to get another opportunity to talk about Kengan Azura in depth again, so I will just say that I really like that manga. It's not quite Holy Land tier of, grounded fighting, but, it kind of operates in big, dumb, meaty seinen spectacle, the kind of shit where, dudes are getting punched and, buckets of blood are flying out of their mouth, it is one of those, but it is a very well done one of those. All of the cast is very likable and memorable. The basic premise is, actually in Japan, the majority of business deals are settled with one-on-one underground death matches.
That is pretty good.
The idea is if a business wants to buy another business, or if a business wants to win the bid on a piece of real estate, they must field their Kengan fighter, against another corporation's Kengan representative in a
I thought,
Kengan battle.
I thought the actual CEOs were gonna have to fight, but
No. What? Oh, well, okay.
well, I'm sure that happens at some point, right?
Yes, a couple of the CEOs are like, well, I guess it's time for me to take to the ring.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, because like it's not like super realistic. Like you have like your dudes who practice like karate and kung fu and stuff, but then you also have like a sumo wrestler and like a mountain man, like caveman from the Himalayas,
Sure.
and like like an African mercenary and a pro wrestler and a former hockey player, like
All right.
because you all know hockey is the most violent sport, and
Yes.
as a result, it is uniquely suited for the violent matches of the Kenyan battle.
All right.
Just look. I don't have a lot of faith in that anime. It's all CG, and the CG doesn't look very good. But if anyone is in the mood for just a really fun, meaty fight manga, I highly recommend checking out Kengan Azura and its sequel, Kengan Omega.
That went in a direction for sure. We were talking about cute girls with dumbbells, so that's the logical spin-off from all that, I'm sure. But anyway, let's move along to the next one, which is I briefly mentioned earlier, Maidens in Your Savage Season.
I don't know anything about this.
I had to look this up. I had to remember that this was the manga I was thinking about.
Yeah, Aqua, why don't you give the pitch on this one?
All right.
Yes,
so
you're probably
this
better
is
to do this than me.
this is the adaptation of the manga debut by Mario Okada, famous screenwriter
Yes.
of several original anime such as Iron Blooded Orphans and Anohama and other stuff. But who has
that
been
one movie that was a big deal?
Yeah, Makia. I was just
Yes.
about to say who has a bit of a reputation for writing melodramatic stuff,
yes.
but who has been like amassing a lot of goodwill with her latest projects, I think, including Makia. And this, Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season, which is the manga she started in 2016.
Yeah.
G?
I read a couple volumes of this, so I am very surprised that this is getting an anime, I guess, because...
Yeah. So, Oh Maidens in Your Savage...
You know it better than I do, but just the subject matter and like the focus on its highly specific subject matter, I find is kind of a bold choice and something that I think I'm very curious to see how people will respond to in anime form.
Indeed. So, Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season is about 5 girls who are a member of the Literature Club, which is a relative club where they just read books together. And then one day they decide to read a literary classic, except the only problem is that the book is rather explicit in nature. And these girls are all super sheltered, so they don't know how to deal with it. And they decide to try and learn more about sex and sexuality.
Yep.
I feel like if this had been anyone else behind this, I would have instantly checked out right now.
Yeah, yes, it's the most fucking Mario Okada ass fucking just premise in the goddamn world. But
the weird that's the thing. Like, this is the kind of premise that would make you run for the hills, but because it's Mario Okada doing it, it's surprisingly genuine and legitimately funny. So
yes.
So they just like very explicit
it basically
how they're talking about sex.
It basically becomes a love lab, but like slightly more explicit. So
I'd say it's a little bit more like self-serious than Love Lab.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Asamase then.
Yeah, because like
no, but they have like the thing is like it shows a very honest and not exploitative way of how a teenage girl would deal with that kind of stuff, with like the stuff that really makes them uncomfortable, the stuff that's just funny, and then it nicely shows various aspects. So you have like the vanilla main girl who's just like, oh my god, what's this? Sex. But I have this friend who is a boy. Is he sexually active? Is he not? And then like spends entire volumes.
time
angst.
spent on her agonizing over
Yeah.
if the dude jacks off or not. Which I got bad news for you, girl.
And then there's like a girl who's like incredibly repressed and who has to let it go. And there's like one girl who seems like she knows it all, and everyone like worships her and considers her to be the rival because she's so experienced and she has like her own baggage. And then the thing is like this. The interesting thing is that this manga does not go out of its goes out of it, like does not hesitate to to tackle issues that teenagers deal with in regards to sexuality. Like, indeed, what if my best friend who is a dude jacks off? Like, how do I deal with that? And it does it in a very honest and like kind of heartwarming way. But I think the main problem with it is that sometimes it does this about things that are like genuinely something that you can't laugh about. And like the main thing I'm talking about is that one of the 5 girls is an aspiring author. So she wants to write a book. And she has convinced herself that her book needs sex in it because she wants a mature, cool book. And her editor is like, you don't have to do this. You're a teenage girl. People are going to find it really creepy that a teenage girl writes this. So just write something normal. And she's like, no, my book has to be, all the literary masterpieces contain sex, so my book has to contain sex as well. So how does she do that? How does she go about that? She tries to do research by doing erotic role-playing on the internet. Which is funny.
That's
but
a
then
minefield.
Spoiler alert. It turns out that the guy she's chatting with is her teacher.
Yep.
And let's just say that the teacher does not immediately go, we shouldn't do this.
The teacher finds out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so. It's not like
I think
explicitly a student-teacher thing. They can still they can still back off of this. They can still say, "Yo, this is wrong. This is fucked up," but they go about it in such a way that it is considered to be equal, or like it's considered to be similar to like the story with the girl who has the guy friend who was like, does he masturbate or not? Like, it's considered to be like, these are both awkward things that teenage girls go through, while one thing is like a really normal thing and the other one is borderline pedophilia. So that's a bit weird.
Yeah, I guess the thing I would say about O Maidens is like, I think I read a few volumes. I fell off it, not because I like disliked it or was like actively turned off. I think I just had other things to do. But I will say that the thing I will say is worth as Aqua said, I think is worth praising about it is definitely that if nothing else, I think Mario Kata is swinging for the fences as honestly as she can with this work. I do agree. I don't think it all quite lands. Some of it is, some of it is the awkward stuff feels earnest and genuine, and then some of the awkward stuff feels like you're just ginning up like needless melodrama.
Yeah, some of it is still like Mario Kata drama.
Yeah, some of it is just like, oh, like these characters would not actually do that. Like, yes, they're awkward teenagers, but they wouldn't like make these kinds of like ridiculous have these kind of ridiculous misunderstandings or whatever, But I guess I'm very curious how this will end up as an anime because I think we always say is like manga in general has always gotten away with being a little bit more explicit about its not subtext, its subject matter, whereas like I feel like this manga is very in your face about like, we're talking about sex, like this is about sexuality and sex, and like
I think it's very
it's not just romance or love, like it's.
I think it's a very interesting show that could like. It's definitely gonna be like a kind of diamond in the rough kind of thing, like and it's hoping that the positives outweigh the negatives. But I think there's definitely some great stuff in there that I recommend everyone just checks out. Like the first few chapters of the manga are pretty great. Also, but that also depends a lot on like translation, I guess. But like the first few chapters of the manga are like one of the few times a manga has legitimately made me laugh.
Are you talking about? I'm not sure if it was in the first couple chapters, but are you talking about them writing on the whiteboard their attempts at coming up with
euphemisms,
other euphemisms for sex because they can't bring themselves to say the word sex?
Yep, yeah, that's the one.
Shit. Yeah, it's very good.
I don't think any of you watched Please Tell Me Galco-chan. If you remember that show,
no, I did not.
That was that's kind of. I don't think that's a direct comparison, but that's another show that was very honest about like sex and like women's bodies and stuff like that, which a lot of people actually ended up appreciating.
Was that old show like Yamada's First Time or something?
Yeah, that was like I didn't
actually watch it.
That was more like explicitly like a dumb, raunchy teenage comedy thing. But it was kind of like in a nice, like sort of wholesome type of way, I guess. I'm interested in seeing this one, and I would just conclude by saying that if I did want more R-rated Love Lab, I'd prefer more Asobi Asabase. But moving along, all right.
Oh man!
Grand return, the glorious return.
Boy. Time to
I wrote your turn on this one.
Let's see. Next season, we're getting an anime from Studio Troika titled "The Case Files of Lord El-Melloi II, Rail Zeppelin Grace Note."
Yeah, because all fucking know,
some fucking word salad bullshit. This is in the Fate Stay Night universe.
Hell yes,
it's a spin-off.
Most importantly,
about Lord El-Melloi II,
better known as.
If any of you have watched Fate Zero, you may recall a character named Waver Velvet.
Shit! It's my boy
who went on to do things in the backstory of the universe after the events of Fate Zero, and eventually became to be known as Lord El-Melloi II. And so they made a spin-off about him doing stuff, I guess.
Fantastic. What could possibly go wrong? It's Waver. You don't remember Waver? We love him.
So, is this a serious show, or is it a comedy, or what is going on?
It's extremely self-serious.
Oh, it's actually serious.
Yeah.
This is basically like a detective kind of show, but in the Fateverse, right? Yeah.
Look, Waver solving crimes. What a great idea for
I mean, like...
I think everyone kind of forgets that because Iskandar is so cool, everyone kind of forgets that Waver's sort of a whiny asshole.
I mean, but he's supposed to be, contrast with Ryder. Waver is cool. I like Waver.
I know.
But, Waver's the best. There's nothing wrong with Waver. Surely the spin-off will be highlights of this season because there's no fucking way
let's not get ahead of ourselves.
My boy Waver, would they?
I don't know. So,
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, so this is like a series of light novels, and this, my understanding is this is adapting the 4th and 5th volumes of those light novels, because that's the one that has this minor character from Fate Grand Order in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
probably
I think another interesting thing is that these light novels were written by the guy from Rental Magica, who is completely irrelevant, but he's also the 4th guy in Chaos Dragon. Remember that?
Yeah, he is like Taimuna Jace.
Sure.
That's
he is that other guy from Urobuchi, Narita, Nasu, and that other guy. He's that guy.
Chaos Dragon wasn't good.
Which character did he play?
The fucking Miko Kid, I think.
So not the cool robot.
No, that was the Bakuno guy. That was Ryogo Narita. Cool. Anyway, don't expect much fateness from this. Like seems to mostly concern itself with like the mage stuff, which was always poorly thought out.
There's no servants or anything. It's
right.
But it's Waver solving magic crimes.
I don't know, like. They did put out an episode 0 thing a few months back.
Did they?
They did, and it was like totally stupid. But also like for someone like me, I was mildly entertained.
Okay.
Like 10 years older Waver, just kind of being a surly piece of shit.
That sounds great.
He's just like a dick.
I mean,
Yeah,
it did have
perfect.
that dumbass
That's
chase scene with the guy surfing on the road or ice skating. I don't know.
I mean, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
But yeah, like the fate train never stops, baby.
Yeah.
Look, man, I've mostly been facetious this whole time, but in all seriousness, this is the Fate spinoff that has had me more interested than any other Fate spinoff since Evia's Kitchen.
Right. I mean, I didn't even talk about how. So yeah, this is a Waver. This is a Waver spinoff. This is There's a Waver spinoff, and the eponymous Rail Zeppelin Grace Note novels. My understanding are about a like underground train auction for Mystic Eyes. If that means anything to anybody.
All right, whatever. Sure, let's do it.
Don't get tropes up. But
gee, you're
see.
surprisingly excited about this.
I thought Shikitono was going to show up.
Oh, no fucking way.
But it's Mystic Eyes, man.
So what? They don't talk about... Nobody cares about Tsukihime anymore!
Tsukihime is confirmed. It's coming back. Tsukihime is back, baby.
All right. Is it?
I can't wait for the Tsukihime remake.
Don't do me dirty like this.
Is it safe for me to come back
Short
now?
skirt fanatics. Team long skirt. Hashtag long skirt.
I've turned my mic back on and unmuted everyone. Are we? Is it safe?
Come on.
No.
All right.
We talk about Evelyn and her magic sword.
I don't know. Like, it's hilarious to me that Troika is back in the Fate Train after what's his name left UFO Table to found Troika.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, right? Because it's the same.
I think it's the same director, but it's Troika.
You never truly escape your fate.
Indeed, a man cannot escape his fate, as Luz Mastengo would say.
Indeed.
And there's the reference.
Yeah. So what's next?
All right. Okay. So we had Aqua. You had your turn. Iroh got his turn. Now G, it's your turn.
He already won his fucking Kengan Omega.
Well,
please! That was a tiny version of the full version.
that was a little unexpected. That was impromptu. This one is planned.
Yes.
So,
all right.
G, why don't you tell us about Vinland Saga?
All right. Vinland Saga is, without a doubt, it is the anime adaptation I am most looking forward to, but in a post-Golden Kamui world, it is also the one I am the most anxious about. Vinland Saga is a historical fiction manga kind of loosely based on the Icelandic sagas of the time period, Vikings, medieval era, that sort of stuff. Most notably, it is written by Makoto Yukimura, who was also the author of the legendary science fiction series Planets.
Okay.
Kind of a pretty high profile, like Vinland Saga and Planets are kind of like the two things this dude is really known for, and both are, pretty critically praised. Kind of amazing dude was able to fucking it actually makes a lot of sense in retrospect that he was able to do such like good grounded sci-fi, and then also do like a very like the events perhaps are not accurate, but the like presentation and aesthetics of Vinland Saga are very well researched. Like the armor and the weapons and like the architecture is all like, not like one perfect, but like very, very well researched. Like, and you can tell that even when he does make like, he makes some changes here and there. He takes liberties. He does that with like, from a place of knowledge.
So is it like a magic fantasy thing, or is it just like more? Like
no. This is straight up this is historical fiction.
Okay.
Like,
yep.
Like mud and blood, Vikings and shit.
Right.
So, to just give it like a brief synopsis, taking place, I think, in like the 10th or 11th century, it details the life of Thorfinn, the son of a Viking warrior. And the structure of Vinland Saga is kind of it is truly a chronicle, a saga of sorts, chronicling Thorfinn's story from his early life as the naive son of a Viking warrior to, kind of to a young man consumed by revenge and kind of inescapably caught in the violent and toxic cycle of Viking culture and machismo, and then kind of detailing his growth as an adult who kind of comes to reject the culture that has consumed most of his life, and his attempts to strive to find a different path. And kind of meanwhile, on his adventures, he kind of comes into contact with various notable figures of the time period, from fighting duels with legendary Viking warriors to witnessing the rise and fall of Danish kings. And I like Vinland Saga a lot. I really, really do. For those unaware, Vinland Saga is often considered like the third of the big three of seinen manga. Sharing that place with Berserk and Kingdom. And the thing I would say is unique about Vinland Saga compared to the other two, though, is its kind of marvelous capacity for growth, as it has run for so many years. Like the early parts of Vinland Saga are totally kind of in that vein of what you imagine when you compare something to Berserk and Kingdom, of like dark, violent seinen, gory, lots of blood and fights and all that stuff. But as the times have changed in our world, like Vinland Saga has also kind of displayed a surprising capability to evolve its storytelling and subject matter in like some truly, genuinely compelling ways. Like, it kind of speaks to the quality of the story that Vinland Saga has made me care as much for the fate of a bag of seeds as it did the outcome of a bloody duel. Like, it's just a really, like for those who have read or watched Planets will understand, like, it is a show that is all about, like, these interesting characters and, like, really fleshing out, like, their intentions and their desires and their motivations, and like kind of juxtaposing those against kind of the very like violent, chaotic time period these characters are, these characters.
That's encouraging that you mentioned it's like evolved over time, because like I think of like how I feel like if a lot of people look back on like Berserk right now, it feels kind of dated to the time. It has not aged well with the time. So that's kind of an interesting.
Yes, I would definitely say Vinland Saga has done a much better job of kind of growing up with the kind of changes in even in seinen manga itself. Seinen has always been kind of the generically more violent genre of manga, but like even these days, I think it has definitely grown in ways that people didn't quite expect back in the 90s.
I see it's being done by Wit, so it'll look good for an episode or two, yes. And then
so that is where the anxiety comes in with Vinland Saga, is that Vinland Saga, like, here's the thing. I talk about like my love for like the way Vinland Saga has grown. My fear is that we're not actually going to get to those, like, we're not going to get to the parts where Vinland Saga quote unquote grows up until maybe the very tail end of the two cores they have announced for Vinland Saga so far. Most of its first core, and I'm willing to bet, depending on how it's paced, a large portion of its second core will be mostly focused on the like violent Viking adventure stuff, which I do like. I'm not going to act like I'm too good for that shit. Like, there's some really good fights in the early parts of that manga,
right?
But very action heavy, which Wit Studio is not necessarily unfamiliar with, but they are so inconsistent as
they can bring it. They can bring it, but just can they just keep it up is their problem, right?
Yes, and so like I already begin to take defensive measures here, where I say like, well, there are like 2 or 3 very important fights that will probably happen in the first season, and as long as Wit Studio can like nail those fights, the rest of it can probably afford to be less visually impressive. We have seen some PVs that have already shown pretty prominent use of CG, which is kind of just the sad reality of modern anime production. That's just how it was always going to be. But I'll put it this way: I think the Vinland Saga anime is showing more promise than either the Kingdom anime or the Berserk anime have ever.
That's a pretty fucking low bar.
Yes. I don't know why seinen manga like anime adaptations have always been dogged by these kind of god awful productions, but I think for better or worse, Vinland Saga is somehow the most promising of the three. And
At least they didn't go CG.
Yeah, I really hope it's good. I really hope it's good because it's a manga that I love a lot. You know, like I think I have gone on record saying that I think Vikings are kind of fucking lame. I don't like really
Yep.
respect Vikings as a
I'm
historical
with you.
culture. Like it's kind of maybe a hot take amongst certain like corners of the internet,
I'll
but
back
I
you
just
up on that one.
I have never particularly cared for Vikings. But I think it is a testament to the strength of Vinland Saga. That I think it is a testament to the strength of Makoto Yukimura as a writer that he has made me care so deeply about a time period that I have generally otherwise kind of ignored in my historical studies.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, then.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that one, and we'll wrap things up.
One more to go.
All right, everyone, just bear with me on this one, okay?
One more time.
I'm not making a pitch for this show. I just want to get the explanation out. So, show is called Copcraft, which
okay.
is I guess a buddy cop show with some actual cop guy and some half-dressed anime girl with a sword. But it is set like in modern times or whatever, which sounds
good.
And this is one of the other series written by the Full Metal Panic guy. Who?
Yes.
Go ahead, Iro.
I was just gonna say the other thing that might interest UG is that this is also the director of Bento.
Really? Oh man, okay. I am on board. Yo, let's talk about motherfucking Bento for a little bit. Yo, Bento, really good. That fucking Taka Iwasaki soundtrack is the best.
It's the Japanator cult classic.
Bento. All right. I think I'm on board then. I think I'm totally on board. How could this possibly go wrong, right?
I do feel like if anybody is qualified to explore the kind of challenges that dumb premise would present, the Full Metal Panic guy would be one of the people that could possibly handle it.
In all seriousness, I think I hope this one ends up being decent. You know, like I always do love me a good urban fantasy story. I love buddy cop media in general. Like, give me a story about two people, one is a cop and the other is cop adjacent, and I will
shout outs to Double Decker, Doug and Kirill.
Exactly. Like Double Decker, base Double Decker. Come back, Double Decker. Please come back, Double Decker. But, I hope, I guess the thing I will say is I hope it's good, you know? Like, I hope this is, like, closer to, like, a Double Decker or a black blockade Battlefront than a Fairy Gone or whatever. But,
yeah, it seems
I hope it's good.
More fun than some of those other shows, but they're like something like Fairy Gone. But I should point out the actual original title of the novel series. Full title is Copcraft: Dragnet Mirage Reloaded, which is
okay.
Oh, that's good.
Give me a anime word salad.
No, but that's a good anime word salad.
It's actually I was actually surprised.
Dragnet Mirage Reloaded. Yo, that's not bad.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. This is older because his third series, of course, is Amagi Brilliant Park. This is actually older than Amagi Brilliant Park, but which Amagi Brilliant Park is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. So yeah, I mean, could be something. It's at least not worth throwing on the trash heap yet, which is about as good as we can hope for on most of this list. So,
I mean, I think Copcraft, unfortunately, like the thing I will say about it, which is maybe the thing I will say as my general closing statement about this season in general, is I think that this season has a lot of stuff that could be promising, whether in premise or because of pedigree. Like there are things that I think are worth looking forward to. I think the issue with this season is that none of them is really quite a sure bet. Like,
there's a lot of ways they can go wrong.
There are a lot of ways every anime airing this season could go horribly wrong. You know, whether it is the subject matter itself or how the adaptation is handled. Like, I think maybe the sad truth about this season is that we don't really have any sure bets. Like, we have a lot of things that conditionally, like, hey, it could definitely prove themselves. Like, I hope, like, 2-3 podcasts from now, we're talking about, oh yeah, no, all these anime really pulled it together and like are a lot of fun to watch, But I think nothing this season that is really like oh hell yes, like this is it, this is gonna be the one,
Yeah,
Right.
I should hope that with the amount of shows that could be good, there'll at least be one or two that, like, just out of sheer volume, at least one or two of the best will be good, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think
I'll also just say overall, just as a matter of, I guess, personal preference, I have a feeling there's a higher chance you guys will find shows that you'll like more than I will.
Look, Joe, we can't always have an anime comedy every season where all of its inhabitants are awful to each other.
Yeah, we haven't had one for like 3 seasons now. So.
Yeah, that is true. We've kind of had a drought in the horrible people comedies corner of...
Yeah.
Kaguya-sama was last season.
What?
Kaguya-sama was
ago.
last season. I mean, not this season, but the
ago.
season before that. That's
right.
last
We're
season.
going into but we're going into another season.
What's
So-
Shoichi Fujita up to?
Is there any more Osamatsu related stuff he's got to do?
Probably. Who knows?
Free
There's
Yoichi Fujita.
In every age and every time, there's probably an Osamatsu like OVA being put together somewhere. So.
Ira, do you have any overall thoughts you want to share as we're wrapping up here?
I think we covered it all. Like,
Aqua. Do you?
I'm just looking forward to how long we're gonna manage to last into this season.
Well, we might end up.
If we survive this season, we could survive anything.
Yeah, I think this season does look more or this upcoming season, the summer one, looks more promising than the current one. At least, I mean, like I said, for me personally, a lot of these shows do not look interesting to me personally, but I could see them being, still good and some.
Look, I'm just even saying this. I'm saying this mostly just from a quantity standpoint. Like, yes, I know y'all haven't shut up about Sarazanmai, but that is literally one goddamn show in a season. Like, we live in a season where somehow even Carol and Tuesday are letting us down. Like, it has been some grim fucking times for anime.
So we may be back to anime news on the podcast next season as well, but we'll I've actually been enjoying that, so we'll see how it goes.
It's been fun. I do like it. I would hate to throw it out entirely, but I just do hope we have more anime to talk about next season, if nothing else.
Maybe we could write about anime.
What? No, that takes too much time. Not like these 2 hours.
No, that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah. Aqua, do you have any final thoughts you want to share? I'll get on this season.
I have no thoughts I'd have to share. I only want to share this cool fan art of 2B from Nier Automata.
Who did it? Who drew it?
I have no idea. People don't deserve to be credited for the things they do.
So
that seems kind of fucked up. It's a good thing that you, Aqua, are just an internet nobody and not like the multi-billionaire CEO of a giant corporation.
I sent the calzone into space. I don't pay taxes.
Well, now that Aqua's made an Elon Musk joke, we've really completed this episode of the GLORIO chat. So let's wrap things up and do our housekeeping. So check out all our content at theglorioblog.com. This housekeeping is getting really long here, but so check out all our content at theglorioblog.com. Follow us on Twitter at theglorioblog. You can follow all of our podcasts. So this one, the GLORIO chat, we have Legend of the GLORIO Heroes with Iro and G talking about Legend of the Galactic Heroes. We have Neon Genesis Evangelion, where Iro and G joined me to talk about Neon Genesis Evangelion, including our double podcast from Thursday or whenever that was, or Friday, yesterday. I have no idea what day it is. Today's Sunday, isn't it? I'm so totally off.
It's Sunday.
And this podcast is not going out on Sunday, so
It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's
none
Wednesday.
of that makes
It's
sense.
Wednesday.
Just listen to the Evangelion podcast. And the latest one, the GLORIO's King of the Kaiju with Kristen Collins talking about kaiju monsters movies. Hopefully they will get another episode of that out soon. I believe the plan is to do that monthly for now. So
They're gonna do Rodan.
yes, Rodan
next.
will be next, and I can't wait to see the continuing running power level monster ratings for that. But yes, so check all that out on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, also on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe there so we can get our URL and
Hit that bell button.
actually share our fucking shit, because I tried to push our Ava thing like when it was still relevant and we got 0 hits, and I'm like actually upset.
I got some activity on my tweet about the children.
Yeah, but that's not like
That's not
that's not our actual
content.
fucking conversation that actually
Hey,
Twitter doesn't care about the content. They just
Hero, believe me, I would love for anything, for people to know about my Ava hot takes, but I think on some level
I don't give a fuck about your Ava hot takes. They need to listen to my Ava hot takes.
I just think that we are shouting into a very deep and dark abyss.
It's fine.
There's a lot of discourse there, like we are not. This is not the niche production. This is not the niche podcast about a fucking 1988 legendary science fiction OVA that nobody is talking about anymore. Like,
yeah, I know.
Oh,
but believe me, I do. I echo your feelings.
Well, statistically, nobody listens to the end of the podcast anyway. So
Don't be
that's
sad.
how podcasts
Don't be
work.
sad. All of your hot takes are worthy of my grace.
Yes,
And there we go. All right.
there we go. So that'll do it for this episode. Thanks, guys, for being on. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will catch you all next time.
See you later.
Bye.